Trek Geeks Podcast Network is proud to have Fansets as its presenting sponsor. Fansets is the place for amazing pin collectibles with over 300 officially licensed Star Trek pins and new releases every month. Stay tuned for a special discount code good on your next order at fansets.com just for Discovering Trek listeners. Fansets, our pins have character.
This is Discovering Trek Enterprise. Welcome to the First Frontier. We are about to chat about Enterprise Episode 1, Part 2, Broken Bow. If you haven't watched it, really, guys, come on. It's been 20 years. Figure it out. Go hit up Paramount Plus, watch the episode, and then just, crab walk back here and listen to us. That's it. We hope you have enjoyed our non-warning spoiler warning. My name is Sarah, and I'm with the wonderful and talented Mr. Kasey.
Oh, me?
You?
I thought it was somebody else.
Oh, no, it's you.
Oh, well,
Wake
gosh.
up. This is happening.
It really is. Woo! Welcome, everybody, to our second episode, talking, as we said, part two of Broken Bow.
Mm-hmm.
And, oh, man, I think, a little refresher for everybody, Sarah, of what we kind of thought of part one of Broken Bow.
Yeah, I'm not that full. I only had 2 slices of pie. So I gave it 2 out of 6 slices of pie for the episode. It wasn't what I was dreaming of back in 2001. I just wasn't captured in that first half. But the show is young. Time will tell.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, I gave a little higher ranking 3 slices of pie. So it's a 50%er for me. Didn't start off as strong as I was hoping for a pilot episode of a new series, but maybe the second half will change our minds.
Maybe it's the magic we were waiting for in that first 44 minutes.
Oh, God. I hope it's not a long road we have to go.
Oh, getting from there to here? Absolutely.
Oh, I'm not walking. I want a transporter. Do you?
I got faith.
Of the lungs?
Yep.
Oh, very good. Oh, man. So, oh, my gosh, everybody. Let's, Sarah, what do we talk about? Some high-level points thinking? Episode expectations for the second half here?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I was after that cliffhanger starring Sly Stallone. I was expecting some kind of resolution. There was obviously Klingons that needed to get places, and there was Vulcans standing in the way. There was all types of things happening. So, I wanted to see the crew come together really strong in this second half of this episode. I wanted to see T'Pol be helpful and not trying to just get them back home because they shouldn't be out in space. And that's what I was expecting to see in the second half. I feel like a lot of those things kind of happened, but it didn't, once again, rock my socks off, as they would say. What about you?
I gotcha. There's so much stuff packed into an hour and 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
The Suliban, meh and meh again. One, I thought the other bridge crew members were kind of not given a lot of introduction to their characters with a lot. I mean, it was very, from my point of view, superficial.
Mm-hmm.
Of just like, oh, hey, here's this person, here's this person, here's this person. You know what? We just flip-flopped a couple of characters from TOS. And so there you go. And then we're off,
mm-hmm.
which for me gave any sense of danger. I didn't care about the characters. There was nothing to care about yet.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, well, okay, if they die, they got the, an XO2 coming up at some point. So whatever. That was about it. So then with those thoughts, what's your ranking in pie slices for part 2?
Oh, what did I give this? I gave this still just 2 slices. That transporter rub down scene. I mean, what WTF, people? Just unnecessary, stupid, gratuitous. And I thought that Star Trek was better than that. Personally, it just bugs me, and that's just a woman's perspective. There's other ways to showcase what a beautiful person Jolene is, so that's not the way to do it. I thought that I liked though how T'Pol kind of her character went for the second half of that episode and kind of surprised Archer. I think Porthos needs to have a ranking because it's just the cutest thing we've ever seen. And yeah, I was happy with the way it ended. Of the episode, like just to close it up, the Klingons and all of that, I thought that was great. I mean, when you bring in a big character like the Klingons, you want to see it seem pretty true to what you're expecting, and I think they did it. So,
okay, there you go. Well, yeah, Supreme Chancellor Porthos would be fantastic. More doggies. I was consistent as you were. I gave it 3 out of 6 slices of pie. The decon chamber thing was just ultimately cringy. It was like Trek Skinamax. And I was just
missing like the music, like that, or like Barry White.
Yeah, it was just, like you said, so blatant and gratuitous, and I was quite uncomfortable rewatching that scene. I was like, you know what? If your goal was to bring in teenage boys to watch this, okay, but that's not.
That's the scene for the guys, but for the ladies, here's Scott Bakula in his blue booty shorts. Like, come on, we don't need to see that either.
I was like, hey, Trip works out, good for him. You know, that's great. And then, the blue tidy nut cruncher shorts were just like, wow. Okay, so we're just gonna do all that. All right, so we're consistent on our of everything going on for this episode. But a little recap here for you.
Do you have some rhyming ready for us? Did you gonna dazzle us again, or do you want to just keep it simple this time? And
I didn't do rhyming for the second one because I was like, okay, I'm not gonna get myself in a rut just yet with 4 seasons.
I will do a rhyme for the next episode.
Okay.
I promise you that. Listeners, get ready. It's going to be iambic pentameter and all of the above.
Oh my God, you know big words.
I'm hoping that is something to do with poetry.
I bet it is. But oh my gosh, what do we go on second part of Broken Bow? We continue our maiden voyage with the first Starship Enterprise. We get new toys, phase pistols, stuff like that. New CGI, new species, and space jackets with collars. I hate that look. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. It reminds me of 70s fashion in all quotes. That was just crap. I don't like it. I'm angry. Okay, move on. We get more with Klang the Courier and the Enterprise crew trying to bring an important message to the Klingon leaders on Kronos about Suliban's that intend to promote what? The temporal Cold War. And more future guy. Lovely.
The nerve of them. The noive.
The Suliban.
Who do you think you are?
They're definitely new. So, okay. I don't know if a new antagonist was necessary.
I have a question as somebody who's only seen season 1.
Okay.
Does the Suliban play strong throughout the entire series or just this season or what?
I don't know if I should tell you or not.
Should I learn to love them or should I just kind of forget about it?
I would think you could learn to appreciate what their characters are attempting to bring to the series.
Okay.
How does that sound?
That sounds fine.
I'm not trying to lead you in any way, but this is not a one and done type thing.
I didn't think it would be.
This is going to be a recipe your mom pulls out of the cupboard every 2 weeks and says, you know what? Guess what we're having?
Shake and bake.
It's Tuesday, people. Hamburger helper without the hamburger. So love it or leave
Tuesdays.
it. Oh God. We can't
I'm
keep
hungry.
talking about food. I know.
No.
I hear you because I thought about that too. I was like, we're going to have to eat before we do these.
I know. All I'm thinking about right now is the leftover KFC I have in my fridge right now.
Oh, that would be delicious. Oh my goodness. Okay. So, we're kind of on the same thought process as we were for part 1 of this broken bow. Bow. I keep saying bow.
Bow, chicka, bow, wow.
And that's how it really felt
It did.
this. So
let's take a moment to thank our sponsors, maybe, and then we can get into some deep dives.
We can, because then we could wipe everything clean.
I think that we need to do that.
Wouldn't it be wonderful?
I think it would be great. So, with that being said, hey everyone, we are taking a moment here to thank our friends over at Fansets for being the exclusive sponsor on Discovering Trek. You know, they are always working to put out the best product available and to continue to surprise all of us with new designs and product releases. John, Lou, and the entire company, even Joe, are such amazing people. There are some great new products out there too, if you haven't heard, Kasey, like Picard episode 3 and 4 pins, The End is the Beginning, and Absolute Candor. Plus tons of non-Trek stuff like Scooby-Doo, DC Batman 66, and The Big Bang Theory. There are tons of pins and accessories for you, specifically you, and our listeners at fansets.com. So head on over there, just go bananas, grab some stuff, put it in that little like shopping cart icon in the top corner, and then use our special code word Discovering Trek. It's in all caps with no spaces at checkout for an amazing 10% off your entire order. And don't forget, if you're in the US, you lucky ducks, spend more than $30 buckaroos, and you will also get free shipping.
There you go, man. I love that you didn't quite yell the Discovering Trek in all caps, but that's how I see it every time when it's in Discovering Trek. They're just, hey, have fun. Fansets. Our pins have character, and we thank our friends at Fansets for being the presenting sponsor of the Trek Geeks Podcast Network.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Also, breaking news for Fansets. Right now, Fansets is giving listeners of the Trek Geeks Podcast Network the exclusive opportunity to help select the next pin in their Women of Trek collection. Folks who vote will also be entered in a random drawing to win a Women of Trek Master set and a full set of the Series 2 pins. So go to trekgeeks.com/vote and vote. Winner will be selected on April 1st. So, do we want to use our Chef's Special as a chance to talk about some of the things we liked, or do we want to use it as a chance to talk about what we thought about some of the technology? What are you thinking?
I'm thinking you're dead on with both. This is going to be a little bit of a hodgepodge, I think.
Potpourri.
I was jazzed to see some of the new tech being used, just because I wanted to start getting the build of the history of where certain things came from. I liked kind of the phasers, phase pistols. Okay. I mean, they're ugly as sin, the design. Mm-hmm. So I get the saying, hey, we have to make these look different than TOS and stuff like that. The transporter. I love that no one wants to be near that damn thing.
I know. It's kind of funny.
It's just like, hey, for cargo and stuff like that, sure, let's use it. And I like that there's just one pad, and this is what I was talking about on our previous episode of when something progresses, like cell phones, things like that, they get smaller. Mm-hmm. So you have that one huge transporter pad, and that's it. And I'm glad it was used kind of as a crutch, but that you can have something here where if the characters are emotionally no to that thing, that then in the writing, they can't just fall right back onto it. I'm like, okay, I like away team landing party jackets. Mm-hmm. I don't like the collars on them. Mm-hmm. Or make it a collar or something that where, like, if it's cold, you flip it up, you zip it all the way up to protect your neck, type of a thing. Yeah. These are supposed to be utilitarian items.
I'm in Canada. I get it. You need to be prepared for cold weather.
Right? And boy, it looked like packing material. That poofy stuff. Nice set design for sure. Out on the planet, like, okay, what you're going to use there, and decent use of an existing facility, and there we go. The likes of what I found. How about you?
I can't find any likes. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I struggled to watch this. I didn't even finish watching the second half of the episode as a rewatch. So I'm just going to touch on a few things that I'm just going to touch on the things that bugged me again. But they're like not bad bugs. They're just kind of more like questions. Like, are we as viewers supposed to really think that Archer is going to have this expectation of Hoshi to be able to figure out a language with such little stuff to work with? Like, I just found that to be a rushed type of storyline. It's a brand new language that I'm assuming is unlike anything. If you think about the diversity in human languages, I mean, sure, like the Italians and the French, and they can have some like melodic similarities, but they're very different from some of the tribal languages spoken in parts of Africa. So this is, and Klingons, and it's so I was bothered by how the pressure was being put on her to be able to have this conversation with Klingon that also, thanks to Dr. Phlox, we're reminded, is not really with it right now. So just kind of a messy storyline. I also didn't enjoy I think maybe this is just coming to me right now. People loved Spock. People love Vulcans. There was big fans of Tuvok. Like they can be great characters and a great species. And to set the tone in this episode that like humans are just annoyed by them and they don't like them and all they're doing is oppressing us, and we know what we're doing. We're humans. We're cocky. We don't need you. I just think it just put a sour taste in my mouth about T'Pol and a lot of these characters, because they're just harping on it. Like, oh, she's just so, why do we have her here? She's so difficult. She can't handle the smell. Like, we all stink and the dog's a problem and we're eating meat and she's just so offended. And it's like, come on, like, you have to be able to be tolerable and tolerate different types of people in your work environment. We deal with it on a daily basis ourselves. So to pinpoint all the flaws of the female characters, it seemed like, especially, I was like, oh God, here we go. Like, it's bad enough we had to sit through Troy and Dr. Crusher not getting nearly enough play for 7 seasons. And then we bounce off a strong Captain Janeway to this. Like, I don't know. That's just something that stood out for me in this first episode. And
I hear you. I still think it was a real D move by the captain on Hoshi, the whole thing. It's like, she's teaching these others deeply into it. Says finals are in 2 weeks. He plays all the cards, all the emotionality stuff to manipulate her into taking the gig. Yeah. And then, like you were saying even earlier, Northern Italy and Southern Italy, there's a flip-flop between hard seas and soft seas. So even just in that country, okay? And then having to learn Klingon, who seems high as F.
Let's be real,
right? It's like, okay, that Oxycontin is good.
Just got back from a Whitesnake concert or something.
Oh,
I mean,
baby. And it's where, not a fair, even-keeled, I'm holding everybody up to the same standard,
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, as a woman, to see that for the female characters, and then meanwhile you have the guys talking about 3 boobs on one species and then ogling the ones that are eating bugs at another place, and I'm like, I think if this is something, because I don't remember a lot about season 1, if this is something that I'm going to see played out again and again for the next few episodes, I can understand and remember why I had a hard time wanting to continue watching the show. So I'm going to be keeping an eye out for this as I watch the next few episodes. Is that's a big thing for me.
Absolutely. Yeah, that little strip joint scene was once again, I mean, exceedingly uncomfortable to watch and go, adults made this and thought this was a good decision.
It felt like they were trying to be like Star Wars when they go to the different bars and places, which they always did it so well in Star Wars. I loved those scenes in Star Wars movies because there was so much to look at in the background. And this was a really bad version of that, I think.
Yeah.
The seedy side of space, right? Like, I just didn't like it.
Yeah, it's, it was like in Trek 5 when, Shatner decided, hey, we'll have a cat-like creature with 3 in the front. And it was like, this isn't necessary, and you're playing to a sophomore crowd there. I hear you.
Yeah. I have a random question for you. We're going to bring back a Sarah's question corner that we had in a previous Discovering Trek. Where in your house is the sweet spot?
Oh, sweet spot in my house, I think, and I mean, this may sound typical, but it's the garage.
Okay.
Just because I like to do a lot of projects.
Mm-hmm.
So like in the house, did crown molding and floorboards and the stairs and all that stuff, and working with wood.
Mm.
And so I kind of inherited that from my dad, because he used to do that. And I don't know if I'm holding my finger up to the camera for Sarah to see. You guys can see, but that's when I nearly cut my finger off using my dad's bandsaw when I was in first grade and he wasn't home. Yeah. So
that could have gone really bad.
It could have gone. It was interesting. But yeah, I love being in there, and it's when you're creating something and you can visually see your progress. Mm-hmm. That's quite satisfying to me. Mm-hmm. What about for you? Where's your sweet spot?
I think it's in the basement where I am right now, because half of it is like a tiki bar that we've built in the basement, which is just kind of fun in general. And then in the other half is where I have my nook for recording, and all of my nerdy stuff is in here. And also this is where I do all my jewelry making and all my crafting. So it's like my creative space. It's such a like loud, full of fun stuff that's such a departure from the rest of the house that it's just fun to come down here and just like think about all the fun things that I've gotten to do and get to do and create and make and sew. And
I think that's fantastic. It's a mood changer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You always have fun down here in the tiki bar. In the Star Trek corner.
Fun in a tiki bar.
Right?
Oh, God. Mm-hmm. Bars. Just to be able to go out. Can't wait.
I know. Okay, so I have another question. We're gonna keep with this.
All right.
The end of the episode. You know, Archer and T'Pol have this little scene where he's kind of like, well, if I say that I want you to join, it's like I'm needing you, and, you know, kind of hinting at volunteer. Do you think if it was you, would you want her or a Vulcan on your ship, given the history that you have and the things that you want to achieve and the things that you've witnessed amongst these meetings with the higher ups?
All right. So are you asking me as if I was Captain Archer, or as if I was captain of that ship?
I think if you were the captain of that ship, what would you do? Okay. And what do you think that Archer should, like, I mean, go with whatever you want. Interpret.
I think it would really depend on the interaction and exposure that I personally had with other Klingons and Vulcans and, I mean, deep history with the Vulcans. Okay. Yeah. So, and you just saw a bit with the Klingons. But this person helped me. And this person, say, if I was knocked out for a while, thought about what would the captain of the ship want to do. Mm-hmm. So, and this person knows more than I do. Mm-hmm. So if I'm smart, I get people smarter than me around me to help. Yeah. And so it's not that, oh, I know everything. It's, I don't know as much in this domain as you do. I need your expertise. Please stay. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I don't see how that is showing a weakness for asking somebody to stay.
Oh, absolutely.
That was a crap piece of writing.
Yeah.
On their part.
I think so. I think it was also a rushed thing to have, because the very first scene of the whole series is him as a little boy making jokes about the Vulcans and talking about how he doesn't like them. And so you're thinking, if this is how he was at 12 or however old he is, this is what he's been thinking his entire life. And then in a matter of a couple of days, one Vulcan reluctantly does something and he's like, oh, sweet, join my ship. Like, I think it was just rushed, just like a lot of this series in a way. With that introduction of characters. That could have been an episode 3 thing. That could have been like a... But
it could have, and I think that their decision to kind of be more episodic ruined chances of like what you're saying. Mm-hmm. So things that could have been organically built were just, no, you got to do it now, because then in syndication or whatever happens, the next episode that shows might not be in order. So we have to have her on the ship.
Yep.
I got to say yes, and then we have to move on.
You know, it's really funny you mentioned that, because I never even like clued into the fact that it's episodic. when I was young and I loved TNG, I loved the standalone episodes. I mean, of course, there's storylines that weave throughout a series. That's how they all work. But I think that's why when I was young, I struggled with Deep Space Nine, is because if I missed an episode pre Netflix and you didn't record it, you were lost. And I was 16, 17, like a political sci-fi drama wasn't really my thing at the time, right? I was watching Clueless and all that kind of stuff. And but going back as an adult and watching Deep Space Nine, the fact that it was a story, it was not episodic, is what made that series so fantastic.
Right.
And so I think that because Enterprise has this like darker tone, I think it would have done really well if they had done it that way. So I'm really, now that I'm realizing it's going to be standalone episodes, I'm a little bit dreading it even more.
I think there's gonna be a few times you say as if, and very much so. And there's gonna be stuff where you go, wait, didn't an episode ago something major happen to that character, and now it's as
We're
if
not
nothing.
talking about it.
Yeah, it's a different feel.
Oh, great! I can't wait to go back and edit this because my stomach is growling so loudly. I'm wondering if it's getting picked up by the microphone.
I can't hear you, but hey, maybe we need a pizza sponsor.
Well, see, we're in the chef special of the day, so I'm thinking like there should be food laid out in front of us as we record, and you can hear us munching away. Wouldn't that be fun?
I will create charcuterie plates for us.
Yum!
And
love it.
We will have that.
All right, fun.
To wrap this one up, you know what one thing I thought, which I did like, is I liked that Archer spoke to his dog, because there was a different narrative to be able to get what he's thinking out instead of just another star log.
That's a great point.
Okay, because I talk to my dogs all the time.
Yeah, and that's a big tell of someone's real personality, and I think that's a really fun little fact to have about that character. Good point.
Absolutely.
All right, what do we do for our fun house? Did I send you a link earlier today to do a quiz?
Oh my God.
I will share this out on Twitter later on for sure.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, please do. Whatever place this is now has all my pertinent information. Actually, it has none of it.
No.
I only put in somebody else's social security number. Sarah sent a quiz for us to both take about who we are. What
from Enterprise.
From Enterprise.
Did you find that the questions were really stupid and I had no idea what they were referring to for almost all the answer choices?
I had like zero idea.
Yeah, I just was like, I like that word. I can't say it, but that's pretty. Like I
was like, what? Certain things like, I don't know what they're asking here, so I'll just pick that one. Well, when you did your questionnaire, young lady, what character are you?
I got Dr. Phlox, and that's okay because as of right now, he's my favorite character.
Right on. Well, I think the game is rigged because I got Dr. Phlox as well.
I'm going to find a different quiz, and so next time we'll do it again, and if we both get Dr. Phlox again, then it's just, that's what it is. We just have to live with it.
I think so. I mean, I was like, okay, this character has empathy. I'll take that. This character smiles and seems to be open to all different species. Okay, I like that. I'll take it. And, right off the bat, a character that's using a little more homeopathic Eastern type medicines instead of just all technology. And I was like, that's a cool approach. That's different.
Yeah.
Smart. Let's give it a go.
I like it.
Ooh.
We did it.
We did it. You know what? We got through the entire pilot episode. Likes, more dislikes than not, but
good conversation, I think.
I think so too. And
this is the most I've talked about. Tough. Yeah, this is the most I've talked about Enterprise in my entire life. So, I mean, this is a good start.
Well, only 88 more episodes to talk about. So,
Well, it's not that long of a road getting from there to here.
Who knows? And hey, we might, get more character development for everybody as we go along.
All right. So that does it for part 2 of our coverage on episode 1, part 2, Broken Bow. We will be back with our next episode discussing Fight or Flight. as we celebrate the 20th anniversary year of Enterprise. Until then, remember that you can subscribe to Discovering Trek by searching for us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or by heading discoveringtrek.com. And if you want to interact with us, you can find us on Twitter at Discovering Trek on Twitter, or me personally at Trek Rewind, or there's like 30 of them out there. You just look for me. You'll find me on there.
30 accounts. Oh my God. I'm at Kasey Shafsky, one account. That's it. I'm boring.
Perfect.
But hey, you know what? If you enjoy what we're doing here on Discovering Trek and the Trek Geeks Podcast Network, please consider supporting us as a Patreon on Patreon. As a subscriber, you get access to the unedited recordings of episodes, as well as exclusive content and great subscriber rewards, like our annual supporters pins from Fansets and our exclusive Trek Geeks Podcast Network t-shirt, among other things. We'd like to take a moment to recognize the following amazing producers of Discovering Trek. We're quite thankful for their support. Producers are Mike Bovia, Chaz Bradshaw, Ken Bird, Kyle Castillo, Peter Craig, Craig Ewing, Al Godwin, Jackie and Chris Hackney, Kimberly Hartman, David Hood, Tony Lambast, Lionel Marchand, Matt McGonigal, Jim McMahon, Charlie Mulvey, Sean O'Halloran, Jamie Rogers, Chris Tribuzio, Ken Tripp, Christina Werther, and Jess Vachon.
If you would like to become a producer of Discovering Trek or even get access to the raw audio, yikes, for Discovering Trek episodes, head on over to patreon.com/trekgeeks for all the details. Until next time, Kasey, to beam out.
Peace out, Sarah.
Bye.
Music for Discovering Trek is provided by 5 Year Mission. They're writing an original song for each episode of Star Trek. Hear more of their music at 5yearmission.net. Discovering Trek is a production of Coconut Media Works. Executive producers Bill Smith and Dan Davidson. For more great Star Trek discussion, discover the other shows of the Trek Geeks Podcast Network at trekgeeks.com, or find us in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app.
Coconut.